Plus.
Good.
Welcome back, everybody. Now, this happened here in Nashville on Friday. It was a crash involving a bus from Chester County. 43 students, 2 chaperones were on board. 23 of those students were taken to the hospital by ambulance. Very, very scary. Luckily, none of them suffered any life-threatening injuries. But this accident really has rekindled that old debate. Should we have seat belts on school buses? Would that have prevented some of those injuries? Attorney Jim Higgins from the Higgins firm is here to discuss the legal side of this debate. 23 kids taken to the hospital. I mean, everyone was terrified. So then again, this comes up, and it comes up every so often whenever we have something like this. What is the legal ramifications of trying to put seat belts in a school bus?
This has been a debate for a while, and you're right. You hear about an accident like this, and it just makes your heart drop, right? But after it happens, unfortunately, these kids no critical injuries. You know, we come in and they investigate it, and they're going to say, all right, do we need to change something? And that is always one of the big ones, are the seat belts. And there's a split on it. The National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, they look at the cost. It's expensive. And they also look at the way these buses are designed. And the way they're designed is, you know, these rows are fairly tight. And they're not tight just to cram more kids on. They're tight, and the new buses are padded, and it's almost a restraint system without seat belts. But it is a 50-50. You know, there's been, you know, as you see them when they do test crashes and they put them in the car, they do it with buses too, and they show how they perform without seat belts. And really it's when there's these rollovers. The rollover is when a seat belt can make a huge difference.
Right. Well, with something like this too, and now we're looking at this accident, what are they going to have to prove, and what are they digging through right now to figure out what happened here? So
what they'll do on any kind of big vehicle crash like this, whether it's lawyers or the police or whoever come in, you're going to start with the kind of a whole picture. You want to find out how the driver was. Was the driver in good shape? They'll do, you know, usually something like this is just an unfortunate accident, but they're going to make sure, they're going to do a blood test, they're going to make sure they got a good night's sleep. They'll check for that driver's training. They're going to interview witnesses, any video on the bus to see, okay, why did this happen? And then they're also going to go from bumper to bumper on that bus. How did it perform? Were the wheels good? Were the tires good? Were the brakes good? Did it roll when it should have? Did it not? And then how safe was it? Were the kids, any of these injuries been prevented? So what you want is you want to learn so it doesn't happen to anyone else.
Absolutely. If you have questions, you can always call Jim, the Higgins firm. It's 1-800-705-2121. You can also go online to higginsfirm.com for more information. Thankfully, no one was seriously injured in that crash. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving, by the way.
You too.
Now, if you can't get your kids to eat anything but macaroni and cheese, well, we're going to help you out. Coming up, how you can sneak some vegetables, and this mac and cheese is actually so good you'll be eating it too. Don't go away.